Hi guys, welcome to my May wrap-up. As you see, I'm again in a different location, but this time it's a bit different because I have exams, and at my home there is like, now I sound like an old lady, but I mean like just at home there are constructions, so yeah, I moved, permanently left the house and never ever going back. I left Lola there, my mom, everyone. Okay, that's the truth. I'm just in my sister's dorm and it's in a beautiful Ghent. So I'll show you my view at this point. Can't complain. I really can't complain. Wait. Look at this. Just beautiful. Okay. So that was my view, but since I'm in a different location and I had to like take everything with me for this video, since this is the only day I can record, because again it's exams, I don't have a lot of time anymore. I don't have my books with me, so I was contemplating whether I would do the video or not, so I just am doing it because I don't have any time after this day, maybe tomorrow, but I'm here for the entire week. So we're gonna do it like this. I'm gonna show you a picture of the cover. I'm just gonna do the whole review like I always do of the books. So I don't have the physical books with me, but just imagine that I'll do something weird or something, you know? I don't know. So the first book of this month that I read is A Day at the Beachhead. It's a collection of short stories, and oh my god, there were also recipes within the book. And I'm not like a big foodie or anything, but holy shit, I got some good things like that I wanted to eat from it. Sometimes I was like, why would you eat it? But again, I don't know. So it's all about short stories at a beachhead on the same coastline. So it's basically the same location every time, same town, sometimes same people, but sometimes it also goes back and forth in time. So yeah, I can't really pin it on the same time as well, but most of the time it is. And there are so many good stories. I don't think I can choose a favorite one. Maybe it's the one with the two writers. So basically a writer, a bit older woman, she goes to this beachhead, like a writer's retreat, you know, and yeah, so she goes there, and when she arrives, somebody else comes into the beachhead and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, something must have been messed up during booking or something, but this is my time, this is my writer's retreat for the week or something. And then the other guy, which is like this new, fresh out of college writer, but he's known for being very rebellious and stuff. He says like, oh no, they planned me in from today and I can't go back home because it's late, I still have to go to another city, and it was too much. So she takes him in and she says like, okay, sure, but we'll figure this out tomorrow. And things happen, and yeah, I think that's my favorite part, favorite story in the book. Favorite recipe, I wouldn't know, maybe I can edit it in. This is my favorite recipe. Wow, I wish I could make this. So I rated this 4 stars because it's basically just an amazing book, and yeah, I don't know what, it's not a 5 stars because it's not like, oh my god, guys, this is the best book I've ever read, but it's very, very good. I really liked it, and it definitely for summer. So this is, I'm on time this time, so guys, you can read this book in summer, like go to a beach or go sit on the water or something, read this book, and you'll be good for a day, 2 days maybe. It's not that long a book. Only 160 pages, I believe, so yes, definitely do this. The next book was one of the books I was reading in April as well, but it was kind of a thick boy. I mentioned this in... Are
you serious?
It's not what it looks
right
like.
in front of my salad?
Bless you. Wow. I mentioned this in my last wrap-up, that I was reading a book and I'd almost finished it, but I didn't finish it on time in April. So now I finished it, it's May. And it is The Invisible Life of LaRue. And honestly, when I said about Matt Haig's How to Stop Time, that there were other ways to do that concept right, I was talking about this book. Like, wait, flashback? I wouldn't really recommend it. Of course it's a good book and a pretty nice story, but there are better stories, I think, with this concept. Yeah, that's what I meant. And that's this book. So, The Invisible Life of LaRue, we follow Addison. Is it Addison? Adeline. Adeline LaRue, and she makes a deal with the devil. She basically sells her soul, and we follow her whole life. But because she made a deal with the devil, something happened, and she, you know, and during her whole life, she meets someone, but there's something wrong. And I don't want to spoil too much because I know a lot of people say that it's a very slow-paced book. I kind of agree, but not to the full extent, because I was reading this book like on a normal pace, my normal pace, you know, and I didn't really feel like it was slow-paced at all, but I could understand some people thought it was slow-paced. But I really like character-based books, and this is one of those. It's also plot-based, but not as much as character-based. Like, I don't even know if it's really plot-based. Okay, it's character-based. Or character-driven, how do you say it? You're the expert, so tell me. But this was a very good book. I think I gave it 4.5. Okay, I just said 4. There are so many good quotes from this book. In my notebook, I had a whole list of beautiful quotes. I'll insert a picture, not of the notebook, but one of the quotes, because I took pictures while I was on the train or stuff. So you can see what I meant, you know. It was very beautiful. And I understand, because a lot of people say that this is a book that will become a classic in a few years. Totally understand that, and I totally agree. So we'll see, but I think it is already becoming a classic. People already are like, did you read it? You have to read it. And oh yeah, I didn't really like it, but you still have to read it. That are classics, you know. There are a lot of classic books that people talk about like that. So that was Invisible Life of LaRue. So my next book was 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Oh my god, this book was so good. Again, character driven. I love that kind of stories, and I don't know, but Evelyn Hugo, why did I say it like that? Evelyn Hugo. She is such an amazing character, and just like in the book, you want to lean in and listen to every single word she has to say, because it's just mind-boggling how she can tell stories, basically, because that's what she does in this book. And you would say like, oh my god, 7 husbands? Trust me, you want to know. You want to know. And it's not that big of a book either. So just go for it, just do it. It's really good. I gave this book, yeah, see, I was torn between giving it a 4 or a 5-star rating. And again, yeah, also if I look like down, my laptop is here because I don't have the physical book, so I have to see my list. Anyway, follow me on Goodreads because that's where you find all my reviews as well. Earlier, you know, like on the same time that I read, like finish the books. Words. So yeah, I was like tossing around whether to give it a 4 or a 5 stars, so let's say 4.7 or something at that point. At this point, still the same. I wouldn't exactly give it 5 stars because I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. But it's really close. It really is really close. And love the characters, even like side characters. They were like so interesting. Like you want to know about their life as well. Like Taylor Jenkins Reid could like literally write another book on either one of those characters and I would read it. So yeah. Also, this book made me realize I really want to read Jamie Lee and the Six. Jamie and the Six. It's about a band and I've seen it in a bookstore and it's written in dialogue as from first glance, you know. I don't really know, but I think it's written in dialogue. So I'm interested. I had the book, but I didn't buy it because I already bought 10 books. So yeah, that's like probably this summer I'll read that one. So yeah, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. The next book, also I read so much. And the last 3 books you'll see are so different from each other. Like Invisible Life of Addison, LaRue, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, they are like same genre, kind of like same feeling, you know? They're not the same, but you get it, it's literature. Next books differ and trust me, I'm okay. I'm alright, don't worry. But the next book I read was Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig. Again, Matt Haig is such an amazing writer. I love his books. Sometimes I love him not that much, sometimes I adore them. But this book, good book. It's a non-fiction about his journey through battling with depression and anxiety simultaneously. I learned a lot about the whole thing and kind of about myself as well. But yeah, it really is a good book. I gave it 4 stars because basically, yeah, I wrote it like what a fun read with fun with a question mark because I don't know if you want to call it fun, but it was fun to read, you know. I liked reading about, I'm sorry, but there's a naked guy. I don't see anything, you know. I saw his armpit, hair, bush, jungle, and I got distracted. You know, I'm not used to looking outside the window and seeing that. Okay, he's gone. What the fuck? I wouldn't necessarily call it a fun read because, yeah, it's about anxiety and depression and stuff like that. But he makes every book fun to read. I can't explain it a different way. Matt Haig can definitely talk hours about death and wanting to die as suicide, and you will still be hanging on his lips to know his next words, you know. So 4 stars because it was a good book and it was very educative, and yeah, it was good. It was very good. My next book, on the other side of the spectrum, The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. I have never heard of this book before. But I was in London and I was, oh yeah, did I tell you guys I was in London? That's where I bought the 10 books, you know. So I never heard of this book before. And I saw in the bookstore a whole bookshelf only with these colored like spines. And I saw Terry Pratchett. Pratchett? Yeah, Pratchett. And I was like, wow, this man has been busy. Is he a man though? Yeah, he's a man. He's been busy. So, and I wanted to start something in fantasy. I never really read anything in fantasy, I believe. At least not like recently. So I thought like, yeah, sure, let's try it. We'll try this one. And if I really like it, I have a whole fucking series of 38 books, I believe. It's a lot because this book is first published in 1985. So, you know, and you notice it sometimes in the way of writing. I was like, okay, hun, calm down, because this is not the same time, like, whatsoever. Like, just use of language, you know? Some things you can't write anymore than you could 40 years ago. Not even that. So yeah, I liked the book. I gave it a 3.6, which means I am going to read the second book. Maybe not in the near future, but I will buy. I'm going back to London, so I'll buy it there. I know where to find it because I know my way around. I'm sorry, I'm just so happy when I go there. So I'll just buy the second book, maybe the third. I'm definitely going to read the second book because I just want to know like whether I like the story. And most of the time in the series you have to give it an extra try before you can really say if you like the series or not. That's not only for television, guys, it's also for books. So I'm definitely reading the second books. Oh, here, 41 books in the series. So I'm in for a ride if I like this. This story was fun. It was so fun. It was funny as well. Terry Pratchett has some fucking jokes. Oh my god. Yeah, it was so funny. I recall laughing out loud in the train sometimes. Like, there is a scene. So you follow a traveler with, I don't know what kind of species this is, but let's say just two people. And one is a traveler, like a foreigner, and the other is like from that place, the disc world. Or are they both from the disc world? But it's, see, I need an extra book to get into the lingo and stuff. But anyway, so we follow the traveler with one of the inhabitants of that region. And all of a sudden, they get in a room. We follow them into a room or something, and the inhabitant, person one, gets dragged down into some kind of thing with by like octopus hands, like tentacles, and he gets dragged. And he calls to the traveler, like, please help me. Like, what the fuck? Oh, Rincewind. Rincewind is the inhabitant. So now I can use names. Okay, so Rincewind gets dragged down, and the foreigner, the traveler, he's like, oh yeah, sure, I really want to do this, but first, and he takes his fucking camera to take a picture of the scene. It's so hilarious because in that moment, it's like a whole build-up towards this thing grabbing Rincewind, and the first thing he thinks about is grabbing his camera. But this was also like mind-blowing for me because this was written in 1985, like published in 1985. This was written in 1984 probably. There were no smartphones whatsoever, and even then the author thought it would be hilarious but also like crazy for some people to pick their camera first before helping their friend. But that's what happens now. So I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy, because he's like before his time. Like his whole thought process is that, in my eyes, that makes a good author. If you can think like 20 steps ahead, 20 years ahead, then you... Good job, Terry Pratchett. Like 3.6, you could probably give... I can give her the 4 now, just because of the thought process and stuff like that. So, yeah. Very good book. I loved the adventure, everything. It was so funny and so different. And so different from everything else that I ever written. No, read. I don't write. But very good. Very, very good. And then the last book, finally are here. This is such a good month. 6 books in 1 month.
Wow!
Last book I read this month. I wasn't even my intention to read this book as last book. I wanted to read this book.
Hey. How y'all doing?
As my last book, but yeah, didn't work out. Again, exams, you know. But that's alright. So, this book, A Closer Look, Conservation of Paintings, is again a non-fiction book. As I mentioned before, I went to London and I went to the National Gallery, and this was in their gift shop, and they have a whole series called A Closer Look, but they also have another series, I don't recall what it is, but they have a series, A Closer Look, and then different kind of stuff. And I'm thinking about like studying about art after my bachelor, like doing another bachelor, you know. So I felt like, yeah, I have to like start reading stuff so I can go in with a bit more knowledge. I have some knowledge about arts history, but conservation is something totally different, and I haven't really read anything about that or learned anything about that, so I read this book and it was really good. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's difficult to rate like non-fiction because it's facts sometimes. I mean, yeah, this is facts, and most of the time non-fiction is facts, right? It has to be. So yeah, so it's difficult to rate this, but I really enjoyed reading this. I wanted a bit more examples at the end of the book. There are like about 10 examples of like specific paintings in the art gallery, National Gallery, and they say like how they preserve it and sometimes how they clean it, because paintings need to be cleaned as well, which gives me like kind of a bit anxiety about thinking about it, that they need to be cleaned. But of course it's not like drenching your mop and I'm just washing the painting. It's not like that. It's like with cotton sticks, like Q-tips, you know, for your ears, but not for your ears, for paintings. And like sometimes they can't always use the same dissolvent, I think it's called, to like wash dirt from it, but it depends on what kind of paint they use. And for oil, I think you can use that. So you see, I learned, and I definitely will come back to this book, just refreshing everything and like learning more, because from one read you don't know everything from the book. Definitely not with this kind of stuff, I think. Not for me anyway, so yeah. And that was it. What a great month. Like I told you guys last time, I was so excited for May. May was amazing. Oh my god, yes. That was on the spot. Amazing. Amazing. May was amazing. I really loved this month. Not only for reading, like life was Chef's Kiss month. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you next month for June. It's probably not going to be this big of a list. Yeah, but we'll see. I think I'm going to finish that one this month, and it could be the only one. So don't judge. And if you do, have fun with it. Anyway, see you guys next month. And yeah, thank you. Bye bye.